Hey everyone, my name is Kristen and welcome to my cathedral garden. If you are new here, I'm so excited that you're here. I am a former teacher who is now a homeschooling mama to 4 kids. I have a 5th grader, a 3rd grader, a 1st grader, and a 4-year-old this year. And today, we are going to be talking all about socialization. So, come join me. I think you'll be surprised by what I have to say. Before I begin, I do want to let you guys know this is a collaboration put on by my dear friend Christina from over at Rooted Home Life. If you've been around here before, then you know that I adore her. She is a wonderful resource and a even better friend. We are real life friends, and I so enjoy just her viewpoint and the way that she encourages me just personally, as well as through her channel and through her social media. So definitely be sure to go and check out her video, and I will be linking the playlist down below that she has set up to hear all these moms come together and talk about socialization. Okay, let's dig in. I do want to start this out by saying I think my viewpoints might be a little different from both my homeschool colleagues and friends and other mamas, as well as my educator friends. And I feel like I'm a little bit caught in the middle in both worlds, but in a good way. And I feel like that is something that we all need. And so as I get started talking about socialization and how we deal with it and what it is and all of these stuff, and stating my opinions, I want you guys to know where I'm coming from, to know my heart, to hear my heart, and to remember that these are just my opinions. You know, this is my opinions. You can agree with me or not, and that's okay. That's okay, because we're all different. Thank the Lord we're not all robots. So let's just have that little disclaimer in there. This can be a touchy subject on both sides of the spectrum, and I feel like I've been and seen and I'm around things that definitely have two opposite sides, and I a little bit believe that there's a middle, which is honestly neither side likes to hear. So let me explain myself and let's get into it. And yeah, as homeschool moms, we have a chip on our shoulder, and as a homeschool community, we have a chip on our shoulder with the blanket statement of homeschoolers are unsocialized. We don't like it at all, and we shouldn't, because it's not true. It's not founded in reality. That, and even if it were true, we would probably still be making the same choice, because to us, socialization is a secondary issue. The primary issues and the things that we are really worried about, our child's worldview, their education, their well-being, and anything else, any of the other reasons for socializing, for homeschooling, that's what we're holding on to as primary. Socialization is so much a secondary issue, and yet this side, this non-homeschooling side, wants to take it and make it the primary, and we are in disagreement with that. I am in disagreement with that. That is not a reason to have your kid in school. That's not the sole reason. As much as it is a reason not, to have your kids be homeschooled. So, as we go into this video and as I continue talking, I just ask you guys to remember that if some of the viewpoints that I have of saying, well, they might have a point over here, remember that I too believe that this is a secondary issue. That, and I think it's okay if we disagree on secondary issues. Not everybody is gonna think like everyone else, especially over little nuanced things, and that's okay. I do not believe the fact that homeschooling makes kids unsocialized as a blanket statement. I actually very much do believe in and agree with the fact that there are some aspects of socialization that homeschooling actually helps. And as homeschool parents, we've heard those all the time. We hear, hey, they're actually able to talk to other people outside their normal peer group. When are you ever going to be left in a room with all these people that are your same age? Hardly ever again in your life, except for these 18 years. We've all heard that argument. And I think it's true. Some homeschoolers are able to socialize with people across the board, whether they are younger or older, especially adults. But what I really want to dig into a little bit more is that we need to be careful with the righteous indignation that we have of saying, because they homeschool, they can interact with all these different people. Yes, it's true, but we've got to be careful, because I don't know if it's necessarily homeschool that is also doing that. Can it help? Yes, because you are around siblings that are not your same age. If you are in part of any homeschool group of any size, you're probably around other students that are older and younger than you, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But does that make and form and mold a person's socialization skills? No. Just the same way that I don't believe that school completely will mold and form a public school child's socialization skills. It is my actual firm belief that socialization skills mostly come from the parents or the expectation within the home, and what we as parents are okay with our kids learning socially. Parenting is where I think a lot of our socialization skills are formed as kids. Now, I want to be careful here with blanket statements, lest you think I believe that this is just a one size fixes all thing. It's not. I realize that there are always outliers. There are always exceptions to a rule, and more than that, there are always different personalities and things that different people are comfortable with given another social situation. I get that. Not everybody is extroverted and not everybody is introverted. However, I do believe that there are certain societal and expected norms that are just part of life that sometimes, if they're not taught, can be missed by any kid in any setting. And so I would like to ask this question, not really to homeschoolers only, but to just parents in general. What are your expectations for your kids socially? Do you have any? Have you even thought about that before? And let me explain what I mean by just telling you what our expectations are for our kids. So one thing that my husband was very much for making sure that we taught our kids was that they would learn how to look someone in the eye. Now, I know that there are other cultures and things where that is actually very much taboo, or it is looked at as a form of defiance instead of a form of acceptance and a form of hearing you. But in our culture, for the most part, we want to be looked at when we want someone to look at us when we are being talked to. And so teaching children to look at someone's eyes when they talk to you and to talk back and continue to look at them is something that my husband and myself, we wanted to make sure that our kids knew how to do. So that is the expectation within our house for our children, is that they will look at whoever it is that is talking to them in the eye and speak. When spoken to, once again, within reason. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying put them in danger or think everybody's the greatest in the world, but just a sign of simple respect and practice of talking to another. Let me give you an example of what my husband and I did in our family to help teach our kids this skill that was so important to us. So we actually started really, really young. When our kids were like 18 months or younger, they were just then getting verbal skills, maybe even before that, just to have the expectation not only set, but then have it be able to grow with them. And it never was a fight later on when they were older and had more of an opinion, but not necessarily the reasoning skills. Say, about 2 or 3. It wasn't a fight then because we had started it so young. And all we did was, when we would come and pick our kids up from wherever we had placed them for a short amount of time, say that was the church nursery or a children's program class while I went to Bible study, something like that, somewhere safe and simple. It wasn't a long time or anything, and we did not do this at drop-off. We did it at pickup. Was when I would go to pick them up, I would pick them up and grab them and hold them, and then before we walked out or before we turned around and left, I would tell my kiddos, okay, look at Miss So-and-so and tell her, thank you for teaching me today. And I would say it just like that, very cheery, not, hey, you need to tell your teacher thank you. You know, I would have excitement in my voice, make it easy, make it an easy request, a fun thing, and they would do it. For the most part, you know, and honestly, we probably started when they were 8 months old, learning to say bye-bye, you know, turn around, wait, bye-bye, starts there. But once they're able to look at someone and communicate, then we actually started having them say the words. And so I make sure I tell them, okay, turn around, look at your teacher. So look at them and say, thank you for teaching me today. And they would go, thank you for teaching me today. And we'd walk out. That was the end of it. But I do this every single time. Every single time I pick up a kid anywhere. And as a result, I really do feel like they learned to look someone that they don't see super regularly, like it's not a grandma or me or a parent that's in their life every single day. They did learn the importance of looking at someone and acknowledging and speaking to them. And you know, a lot of the times that can lead into holding a conversation once those kids are older. Now, how do I believe that fits in with homeschooling? Do kids that are in other settings such as public school, private school, have more opportunity to practice those skills? Probably so. Now, you will hear homeschoolers defend to the hills that they don't get to talk in school and they don't get to talk at lunch and yada, yada, yada. Yes, there are some places that maybe you don't get to talk at lunch, but any teacher, classroom teacher worth their salt is going to have kids collaborating together. That's actually a higher level thinking skill. It's something that teachers are taught to do in college to get their degrees, is to have kids work with one another, and that's a good thing. So there are going to be places where they are going to have to learn, and maybe that is a little bit more opportunity to practice, but talking and interacting and having those skills stretched a little bit more than at home, where you're not really working on a group project per se in your math class, and it's maybe you're all working on the same thing, but I have my 11-year-old and my 6-year-old doing ancient history at the same time. Still good. They're still working on listening to others, but it's not exactly completely peer or another adult that is not mom. So I do think that these other places give the opportunity to stretch those skills a little bit more, and I think that that is what the non-homeschool world is trying to get at, but are coming at it from the wrong motives or with the wrong intent. So I don't necessarily agree with why they're saying it, but I do see how, and I do think that there is some validity there. Which brings me into my next and last point. For me, as a homeschool parent, where I fall in is that I need to make sure that I give my kids the opportunity to stretch those skills outside of our home. Our home should be and is, I hope, a comfortable place for them. Now, we are stretching each other and we are rubbing up against each other all day long, so all of that is happening as well. But I am consciously looking for places that are a safe place for my kids to stretch their social wings, to learn some things that maybe not necessarily can be taught at home, such as when to stop with a story, when to stop talking. You know, sometimes things get long-winded and you need to bring it back. When to maybe talk more, maybe I need more information, maybe it would be nice to carry on a conversation, a polite conversation with someone as they're trying to get to know you. So I want that for my kids. I want those opportunities to be there. We have purposefully placed our kids in things where they are going to be able to stretch those muscles with their peer group as well as with other people. So they are in a co-op 1 day a week, and I think it's great. They are actually divided in, they're all in different sections, which I love. So my first grader is in with the primary kids, K first and second. My third grader is in with the third and fourth graders. And then my fifth grader is actually in with, there's not a whole lot of older kids, but there are some. So I think it's fifth through high school, and they're all in there together. So they're all in their separate spots. And I think that is wonderful. That is an opportunity there. It is a drop-off co-op. I do not stay or teach there. They are learning from another adult, having to practice listening, following instructions with a group, and talking to other people, as well as waiting to talk to other people too. You know, all of these things that homeschooling can't really replicate. Not only that, we also purposefully put them in a larger church setting. So they go to their classes where they are surrounded by people from the surrounding areas. So they have homeschool friends at our church, but they also have friends that are private schools, go to a public school in our town or in the towns right adjacent from us. They have plenty of people there that they are talking to and interacting with. And if I'm honest, I think that that is a good thing. And once again, I try to take a step back. I help where I can, but I purposefully try not to go into their individual classes and teach them there, because they hear me all day long, and I want them to learn how to make good choices without the presence of mom there. That is also a skill that is important for me, for my kids to know. But I want that to happen in a safe environment. And so for us, church and co-op and our friend group, that is where we have felt like it is a good place to do that. Not only that, I do firmly believe that there's got to be some level of learning to deal with minor conflict. There might, maybe, dare I say, that a little bit of peer pressure is a good thing. A little bit of learning to deal with other people that may be not as nice as you are is a good thing. Not a lot. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not for bullying. I am not for peer pressure that makes you go and do whatever. That's what we're wanting our kids to stand up against. But how will they know what it is if they've never experienced it? So I do think it's important to get kids around other places that are trusted and with other kids that maybe might not be exactly the same as them. So that way you can learn and sharpen those skills when they're small, little, minute things. When your peer pressure is to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what a second grade peer pressure thing would be in a church setting, not in a school setting, because I do know that there are things that kids are getting into that they have no business getting into in a school setting. And that is one of the reasons that we homeschool, and I'm not ashamed of that. But in these trusted settings, like maybe you should have played with the red ball instead of the blue ball because such and such, you know, those things where they're small, learning how to navigate that is good, and that is where you're going to be able to do that. Can it happen in your home? Yes. Do you need to learn how to navigate and deal with other issues with people outside your family? Yes, because you're not going to treat everybody the same way you treat your brother and sister. It's just true. So it's important for me to give my kids the opportunity to experience peer pressure in a safe setting when it is small and minor now, so that way we can talk about it, we can strategize how to deal with it, and they are ready and prepared for when they are older, and then when they go off to college and the world comes at them. That's really important to me, and I realize that not everybody is going to agree with me there, and that's okay. That is okay. You don't have to. Remembering that we are in a fallen world. Our world is not perfect, and if we try to make it so for our kids, we're definitely doing them such a disservice. And so I actually do believe that kids need to be somewhere else, not necessarily in a school, but just, I do believe that kids need to be made to practice socializing in any way that that is possible, if it is possible. Are there people that have made it without it? Absolutely. But do I think that it might be the wiser route to go? For us and our family, that is what we have decided. All right, we made it. Yay! If you guys are still with me, kudos, fist bump to you. We made it through. Hopefully, you've heard my heart. I am praying that that has actually come across well, and we don't have to agree on everything. I would love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. You know, please be kind down in the comments below, but definitely let me know what you think. If I'm missing something somewhere, this is definitely not an exhaustive list. I think I could talk about this for a very long time, but I'm trying to be concise. So I don't want to oversimplify anything, but maybe just state what we do as a family, what our important points are, and to go from there. Okay, you guys, if you would not mind liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, totally helps out my channel. It also lets me know what videos you are liking, lets me know what you're wanting to watch and what content you want me to create. Also, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, especially if you're here from one of the other channels. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if you have not already done so, be sure to follow me. I am on Instagram at the same handle, My Cathedral Garden. I love connecting with you guys over there. All right, until next time.